They say your body speaks to you, if only you'd listen. And for many of us, especially after 60, that whisper turns into a craving, a sudden desire for something sweet and juicy, like a slice of watermelon. But what if that craving was more than just a summertime fancy? What if your body was trying to tell you something important, something that could help your heart? You see, the older we get, the more vital it becomes to pay attention to what our body's asking for. Because those little nudges, those quiet cravings, may be rooted in what your heart truly needs. Today, we're going to explore 10 powerful foods, yes, real foods, that have been shown to support your cardiovascular health in meaningful ways. These aren't miracle pills. They're not trendy diets or supplements with names you can't pronounce. These are foods you can find at your local grocery store, maybe even in your own fridge right now. And here's the truth. Eating the right foods can help you lower blood pressure, reduce cholesterol, and even make your arteries more flexible. That's not just theory. It's backed by science, and in some cases, by personal stories from people just like you. So before you reach for that bottle of pills, stay with me, because your next step toward a stronger, healthier heart might already be sitting on your plate. Let's take a moment to talk about the reality of aging and why what you eat matters now more than ever. If you're over 60, you've probably noticed some changes. Your body doesn't bounce back quite as fast. A walk that used to feel easy might leave you winded. Your doctor starts mentioning things like cholesterol and arterial stiffness. And somewhere in that quiet pause, the thought creeps in, is my heart still strong enough? The truth is, age is one of the biggest risk factors for heart disease. That doesn't mean the future is written in stone. It just means the choices you make today matter more. You might already be on medication. Maybe you're watching your salt, cutting back on sugar, trying to stay active. That's all good. But here's the thing. Diet isn't just one piece of the puzzle. It might be the piece that ties everything else together. In fact, researchers recently followed older adults who adopted a Mediterranean-style diet, rich in fruits, vegetables, legumes, whole grains, fish, and olive oil. The result? Those who stuck to the diet had a 27% lower risk of dying from heart disease and a 23% lower risk of dying from any cause. That's not a small number. That's the difference between struggling through your 70s and thriving well into your 80s and beyond. Because instead of relying only on medications to manage symptoms, what if you could use food to support your heart from the inside out? What if breakfast, lunch, and dinner became part of your healing? That's what today's video is all about. Real food, real impact, for real people, like you. Let's begin with what your heart needs most, a clear path to send blood through. As we age, our arteries tend to stiffen. It's like trying to water your garden through a narrow kinked hose. The pressure builds up. That's when high blood pressure, fatigue, and eventually heart failure start knocking. But there's good news. Your blood vessels aren't fixed in place. They can relax and widen if you give them the right tools. That's where nitric oxide comes in. It's a natural compound your body makes to help open your arteries and improve circulation. The more nitric oxide you produce, the easier it is for your heart to do its job. Now here's the exciting part. Certain foods help your body make more nitric oxide, and some of them are probably already favorites. Let's start with watermelon, not just the juicy red part, though that's great, but also the white part near the rind. It's packed with something called citrulline, an amino acid that your body turns into arginine, which then becomes nitric oxide. That chain reaction helps relax your blood vessels and lower blood pressure. In one study, people who regularly ate watermelon showed a decrease in arterial stiffness, measured by pulse wave velocity, by nearly 0.9 meters per second. That's a significant change. It's like going from a clogged pipe to a smooth one. And if you found yourself craving watermelon lately, you're not alone. Many people have shared stories of suddenly wanting more watermelon after a heart event. without even knowing why. Sometimes your body knows before your mind does. But watermelon isn't working alone. Cucumber, squash, pumpkin, and cantaloupe are also rich in compounds that support this nitric oxide pathway. They're hydrating, low in calories, and support blood flow in a gentle but powerful way. One person in our community even shared a delicious recipe for watermelon rind and cucumber kimchi, a tangy, probiotic-rich dish that blends tradition with heart support. And let's not forget about beets. Beets are loaded with nitrates that directly help your body produce more nitric oxide. Whether roasted, juiced, or fermented, beets are like a tune-up for your blood vessels. So the next time you enjoy a slice of watermelon or toss cucumbers into your salad, remember, you're not just snacking. You're opening up the highways of your body. You're giving your heart room to breathe. If you've ever had a blood test come back with the words high LDL or borderline cholesterol, you're not alone. As we get older, cholesterol tends to climb, and so does the risk of clogged arteries. But here's the hopeful part. Not all cholesterol is bad, and not all foods raise it. In fact, some of the most humble foods in your pantry can actively help lower bad cholesterol. You don't need a fancy supplement or prescription to make progress. You just need beans and a few handfuls of the right nuts and seeds. Let's start with pulses. That's the family of foods that includes lentils, chickpeas, black beans, and peas. These plant-based powerhouses are loaded with soluble fiber, the type of fiber that helps trap excess cholesterol in your digestive system before it enters your bloodstream. In one analysis of over 1,000 people, researchers found that eating just one serving of pulses per day, about 3/4 of a cup, lowered LDL cholesterol by 0.17 mmol. That may sound small, but over time, that kind of drop can significantly reduce your risk of heart disease. And beans do more than just lower cholesterol. They also help regulate blood sugar and support your gut, which plays a much bigger role in heart health than most people realize. Now let's talk about nuts and seeds. Almonds, walnuts, pecans, chia, flax. They all contain healthy fats, fiber, and plant compounds called phytosterols that help block cholesterol absorption. They're also packed with magnesium and antioxidants, which help calm inflammation and keep your blood vessels flexible. One of the best things about nuts? They're easy. Grab a small handful as a snack, sprinkle them on your morning oats or yogurt, or blend them into a smoothie. Chia and flax seeds can even be stirred into soups, baked into bread, or soaked into pudding for a heart-loving treat. Some people worry about the fat content in nuts. But here's the truth. It's not about how much fat, it's about the kind of fat. These natural fats actually improve your cholesterol profile when eaten in moderation. So instead of avoiding fats altogether, think of them as allies, especially when they come from whole, real foods like nuts and seeds. If you've been told to watch your cholesterol, remember this. It's not just about cutting things out. It's about adding the right foods in. One of the most silent but dangerous threats to your heart is something you can't see and rarely feel: chronic inflammation. Over time, low-grade inflammation can irritate the lining of your blood vessels, speed up plaque buildup, and make your arteries more prone to damage. But here's the good news. Food can be a powerful anti-inflammatory medicine, especially when you focus on the right fats. Let's begin with fatty fish like salmon, sardines, mackerel, and trout. These fish are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, a type of fat that helps reduce inflammation throughout the body. Omega-3s are especially effective at calming the immune response that triggers blood vessel damage. In fact, a large analysis of over 140,000 people found that consuming enough omega-3s was linked to lower rates of heart attack, stroke, and cardiovascular death. Even better, another study showed that 2 to 3 grams of omega-3 per day helped reduce systolic blood pressure by about 4.5 milliliters. A meaningful drop, especially for anyone with hypertension. So if you're choosing between fish or red meat for dinner, think of it this way. Instead of adding pressure to your heart, you could be giving it a break. Next up is the avocado, a fruit that often surprises people with how much it does for your heart. Avocados are packed with monounsaturated fats, the kind that helps lower bad LDL cholesterol while raising good HDL. They also contain potassium, magnesium, and antioxidants like lutein and vitamin E. Creamy, satisfying, and versatile, avocados make a perfect spread on whole grain toast, a healthy topping for salads, or a smooth base for sauces and dips. Then there's olive oil, especially extra virgin olive oil. This golden liquid has been at the heart of the Mediterranean diet for centuries, and for good reason. It's rich in polyphenols and monounsaturated fats that reduce inflammation, protect the cells lining your blood vessels, and even help lower blood pressure. You can drizzle it on roasted veggies, blend it into homemade dressings, or use it as a dip for whole grain bread. Just make sure you're using real, high-quality olive oil, cold pressed and stored in dark glass, for the best benefits. There's an important mindset shift here. Instead of fearing fats, start asking, is this fat working for me or against me? When you focus on anti-inflammatory fats, you're giving your heart the protection it needs to stay strong as you age. Because the goal isn't to cut out everything that tastes good. The goal is to make delicious food that loves your heart as much as you do. Your heart is more than a muscle. It's a living, breathing engine made up of trillions of cells, and every one of those cells is under constant attack from something called oxidative stress. Think of it like rust slowly forming on metal. Over time, that rust damages your heart cells, contributes to plaque buildup in your arteries, and accelerates aging from the inside out. That's where antioxidants come in, compounds that help protect and repair your cells before the damage becomes permanent. Let's start with some of the most colorful defenders of your heart, berries. Whether it's blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, or blackberries, these tiny fruits pack a powerful punch. They're loaded with anthocyanins, a type of antioxidant that fights inflammation, strengthens blood vessels, and reduces the risk of heart disease. In multiple studies, people who regularly ate berries showed lower blood pressure, improved HDL cholesterol, and reduced markers of oxidative stress. And the best part? They're delicious. You can eat them fresh, frozen, tossed into yogurt, blended into smoothies, or even added to salads. Next on the list is tomatoes, especially when cooked. Tomatoes are rich in lycopene, a bright red antioxidant that has been linked to a reduced risk of heart attacks and strokes. Lycopene becomes even more available to your body when tomatoes are heated. So think tomato sauce, soups, or oven-roasted slices. Tomatoes are also a great source of vitamin C, potassium, and folate, all of which support healthy blood pressure and vessel function. And then there's one heart-friendly surprise: dark chocolate. Yes, chocolate. But before you run to the candy aisle, here's the key. It needs to be at least 70% cocoa. That's where the real benefits are. Dark chocolate contains flavonoids, another group of antioxidants that can help improve blood flow, lower blood pressure, and reduce the risk of clotting. In moderation, a small square of dark chocolate a few times a week can be a smart and satisfying choice for your heart. Of course, not all chocolate is created equal. Milk chocolate and candy bars loaded with sugar do more harm than good. But real dark chocolate? That's a heart-happy indulgence backed by science. So when you're looking to protect your heart at the cellular level, reach for color, reach for richness, and reach for the foods that fight back against the silent wear and tear of time. Because your heart deserves more than protection, it deserves nourishment. When people think of heart health, they rarely think of their gut. But the truth is, Your digestive system, especially the trillions of microbes living inside it, has a direct connection to your cardiovascular system. It's called the gut-heart axis, and it's one of the most important discoveries in modern nutrition. Why does this matter? Because as we age, the diversity of our gut bacteria tends to decline. And when that happens, inflammation rises, blood sugar control weakens, even cholesterol levels are affected. That's why feeding your gut the right foods can have a ripple effect, reducing inflammation throughout the body and easing the burden on your heart. Let's begin with one of the most powerful yet simple foods, Greek yogurt. Not just any yogurt. Look for plain, unsweetened, low-fat or full-fat Greek yogurt with live cultures. This type of yogurt delivers probiotics, the beneficial bacteria that help restore and maintain a healthy gut environment. Studies have shown that people who regularly eat yogurt have lower blood pressure, healthier cholesterol levels, and a reduced risk of heart disease, especially when it's part of an overall balanced diet like DASH or Mediterranean. If you're someone who enjoys sour cream or cream-based dips, try swapping in Greek yogurt. It gives you the same creamy texture, but with a big boost in gut and heart health. Next, let's talk about dark leafy greens, like spinach, kale, Swiss chard, and beet greens. These greens are rich in prebiotic fiber, which acts like fertilizer for the good bacteria in your gut. They also contain nitrates, which can help produce more nitric oxide for improved blood flow. And that's not all. Leafy greens are packed with vitamin K, folate, potassium, and magnesium, a nutrient profile that supports healthy blood vessels, better blood pressure, and even cognitive function. You can eat them fresh in salads, blend them into smoothies, or saute them quickly with olive oil and garlic. And if you're not a fan of greens, start small. A handful here, a few leaves there. Over time, your taste buds adjust, and your gut bacteria thank you. You might not feel the change overnight, but over weeks and months, your body begins to function better at a foundational level. Inflammation goes down, nutrient absorption goes up, and your heart feels the difference. Because the road to heart health doesn't just go through your arteries, it also winds through your gut. So what have we learned? Your heart isn't just shaped by your genetics or your age. It's shaped by your habits, and especially what you eat. And the good news is, small changes can add up to big results. You don't need to overhaul everything overnight. You don't need 10 new recipes or a complicated diet. Start with just one food, one swap, one step toward better heart health. Whether it's a bowl of berries in the morning, a handful of walnuts in the afternoon, or a side of roasted beets with dinner, each choice matters because the path to a stronger heart is not built in a lab or found in a pharmacy. It's built in your kitchen, one meal at a time. If this message spoke to you today, don't keep it to yourself. Think of someone you love, maybe a spouse, a sibling, or a friend in their 60s or 70s. Someone whose heart could use a little extra care. Share this video with them. It might just be the spark they need to start eating differently and living better. And if you haven't already, I invite you to subscribe. Not for me, but for you. Because each week, we're exploring simple ways to support your health, your energy, and your life without fear, without overwhelm, and without giving up the foods you love. Your heart has carried you this far. Let's help it carry you even further.